Dear students of class 9, today I am going to teach you about the reforms of Ashoka. Today I am going to discuss about the revenue system under the Mauryan rule, Mauryan administration, the revenue system. You know, Ashoka, who dedicated his life for the growth and development of the country and countrymen, on being a non-violent ruler from violent one, introduced a good system of administration. In doing it, he gained inspiration from the administration once his father Chandragupta Maurya introduced. His grandfather Chandragupta Maurya introduced. But the same technique, same method his father Bindusara followed. Ashoka followed the same style, same technique of his grandfather Chandragupta Maurya. That's why during his time, the chief source of income of the state was dependent on land revenue. Taxes collected from the three sources. Number one, cattle, two, mines, and three, forests. Besides, lands where taxes imposed. Before imposing taxes, lands were thoroughly measured and differentiated between barren lands and agricultural lands. And as a result of it, the peasants and farmers who were prosperous, rich, cultivated good crops, produced bulk quantities of crops, they had no problem to pay taxes. But that's why it is said that land revenues was the main source of income of the state, and Ashoka gave importance to it. Out of this income, Ashoka ensured developmental works like constructing of roads, buildings, constructing of rest houses, planting of trees, providing health facilities, giving grants, paying salaries. Ashoka utilized the money collected from the people. And a number of officials were appointed to see and watch over the activities of the other people who were paying, whether they were paying taxes properly or not. If they failed to pay taxes, they were punished. But there was none who would become defaulter, because the economic stability of the country and its countrymen was very much stable. That's why everyone paid taxes in a regular way. Now, Ashoka, for his mental satisfaction, he introduced his own style of work. Although he was inspired by the concept and ideals of Buddhism, yet he decided to introduce some technique and method of the same religious concept, Buddhism. He introduced his Dhamma, which is known as Ashoka's Dhamma. He introduced his Dhamma, which is known as Ashoka's Dhamma. Now, what is Ashoka's Dhamma? It did not involve the worship of a god. Ashoka did not believe that people would worship a god. He was against worshipping the image of a god, worshipping the image. And hence, he introduced certain principles, both for the state and individuals. Now, what should be the principles of the state according to Ashoka? Number one, to promote peace and harmony of the state first. Because each and every person of a state should lead a very steady, prosperous, healthy, and peaceful life. That's why promoting peace and harmony in the state is very important, according to Ashoka. Number two, ensure fast and effective justice to people. People should be provided with impartial justice, because each and every people should be equal before the laws of the country. Third one, to build roads, rest houses and wells for travelers. He gave importance to the welfare work of the country for people's satisfaction, because a number of travelers used to come to visit the court of Ashoka. Ashoka got constructed a number of rest houses in order to provide the travelers facilities to stay safely. Number of roads were constructed, number of houses were also built, and a number of trees also were planted both the two sides of the roads in order to protect the travelers, to have shade from the scorching rays of sun during summer. They set up nurseries to grow herbs for the use of the common man, in order to produce, in order to provide medicines. He gave importance to grow nurseries for the medicinal herbs, to establish wildlife sanctuaries in order to preserve wild beasts, animals and plants, to promote education among the population at large. No one would be uneducated. Everyone should be provided with proper facilities for their educational growth. That's why a number of monasteries which were running, Ashoka embraced it. Ashoka sanctioned money for the growth of education. Number of monasteries got grants from Ashoka. Ashoka sanctioned money for their all-round developments. And apart from this, Ashoka also introduced another system, another principles for the individuals. The other principles about which I was discussing were the principles of the state. And now I am going to discuss about the principles introduced by Ashoka for the individuals. Number one, to live together peacefully and to lead a life full of prosperity, harmony, brotherhood, to speak the truth. Next, to respect all religions. There will be no religious intolerance in the country. Every group of people would be treated equally. There would be a good relationship among different groups of people. There will be no interference in the personal affairs of any religious group. Everyone would have respect, equal respect for each other's religious practices and religious practices and religious freedom. No one would harm the sentiments of each other. To follow the path of ahimsa or non-violence towards all humans and animals, Ashoka imposed many restrictions on killing of animals, hunting of animals, because he himself became a non-violent ruler. That's why he gave importance to it. He also introduced another principle for the individual that was very important: to be kind to the poor, including servants and slaves. The time when Ashoka introduced that system, that time slavery had been practicing in the country. But no one thought that slavery should be abolished. That's why Ashoka introduced a principle for the individual. Under the principle, everyone must have sympathy for the servants and their slaves, and poor should be treated impartially. Everyone should have sympathy for the poor, for the slaves, to respect and obey elders, to respect their father, their mother, and their relations. Everyone should be obeyed with full respect. So these are the principles Ashoka introduced for the individuals. Ashoka was inspired by the ideals of Buddhism. So some techniques, some methods, whatever was there, Ashoka followed it in making his own Dhamma. Ashoka himself decided to make the concept Buddhism popular throughout the whole parts of the world. You know, Jainism could not become popular throughout the country like Buddhism. Why? Because the concept of Jainism, the preachings and teachings of Jainism was not scattered. The preachers, the followers of Jainism could not travel various parts of the world. It was restricted within our country itself. But the system of preaching and teaching of Lord Buddha was not restricted within this country. A number of preachers and followers of Buddha, they traveled outside India and made the concept Buddhism popular. Ashoka himself sent his son and daughter to preach the ideals of Buddhism in Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and Southeast Asia. That's why the concept of Buddhism, the knowledge of Buddhism, the preachings and teachings of Buddhism encouraged Ashoka a lot. Ashoka felt it, that it was the right way through which he would be able to bring prosperity throughout the country by adopting the policy of non-violence. That Ashoka was a violent ruler had become a cause of tension for his countrymen because Ashoka was a ferocious king, a very angry king. The time when he became the king of, Mauryan Empire, that time he became very much arrogant, obstinate, and aggressive ruler. That's why he decided to attack Kalinga. The decision his grandfather, his father had not taken. The decision of attacking Kalinga was not taken by his grandfather and his father. His father intended to attack Kalinga, but before taking that decision, he came to know from his reliable persons that attacking Kalinga might become a cause of deaths of millions of people, because there was a huge soldier under the king of Kalinga. So it might become a cause of deaths of millions of people. That's why they rejected. They rejected the proposal of other nobles and other, courtiers. But Ashoka, from the very, very beginning, was determined to attack Kalinga, to capture control of Kalinga only because of its natural resources. That's why Ashoka attacked Kalinga. And for which purpose his father and grandfather rejected. His father and grandfather did not attack Kalinga. Ashoka realized it. But when he realized it, the situation was beyond control. And this is the reason Ashoka was inspired by the preachings and teachings of Buddhism, and ultimately he became a great follower of Buddhism and became a non-violent ruler and introduced, my dear students, his own Dhamma, own principles for the state, for the growth of state, for the welfare of the state, own principles for the growth of the individuals. A number of principles he introduced only for not only the growth of people, but for the growth of the state, because he gave importance to the development, to the welfare of the country, and he gave importance to the moral upliftment of the people, moral upliftment. That's why he never encouraged the people to worship any image as their God. He was against it, and Buddha himself was silent regarding that point, whether the people would worship any image of any god. Ashoka gave importance to the moral upliftment, and upliftment in the field of moral ethics. A number of efforts had been made by Ashoka himself, and that's why whatever principles as Dhamma he introduced brought prosperity, brotherhood throughout the country. Up to this, my dear students. Thank you.